Good morning and happy Tuesday. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, Chump Change. This is live and recorded. For those of you that might be new here, we typically do is go over crypto news or news in general in the space. I update myself and bring you guys along for the ride. Let's see who's in the house. I know I haven't been live in a while. I've actually just got back from Kansas Sunday morning, like stupid early, and just jet lag has been kicking my ass. So yesterday I took the day, spent the day with the daughter, and we're gonna get back into the swing of things, hopefully. Randy, what's up, dude? Good to see you, man. We have Chuck Danger in the house. I need my cod. Good to see you. Backwards Miner, what's up, man? Rogelio, good to see you. We have Steven Cicero in the house. Thanks for being first, man. Appreciate you. Black Hat Team, Tech Bandit, what's up, man? Nick K, Cape Cod Crypto. Everybody else, I know nothing. I love that name. Daddy Chill. Everybody else I may have missed, I apologize. But let's get into this. What has been going on in the market? It disappeared for like a week, and you guys killed it. This actually looks good today, but damn, yesterday was a bloodbath, and every video on YouTube was complaining that it was a bloodbath, but it's a good buying opportunity, to be honest. So Bitcoin 55,127. To be honest, it's a great price. It is a great price and a great time to buy, in my opinion. We have Solana 138 bucks, Ethereum at 2451. Ethereum took a pretty big shit, actually. That's like what, 600-700 bucks or so. I guess not, comparing to Bitcoin. It's like 10 grand, right? We have XRP at 50 cents. Caspa's down to, or at 16 cents, right? It was at 20 cents. So everything's really had one hell of a pullback. But again, everything's fire sale. It's literally a fire sale across the board. Dogecoin under 10 cents. We have LTC at 57 bucks. Like, man, crazy. Anybody buy the dip? Anybody in the house? Let me know. Did you guys buy the dip or not? Oh, music just skipped. Hopefully my stream's fine. All right, let's check out crypto bubbles quick over here. Why does that look so weird? Why does render look so weird? Why did they spell it all out? Why didn't they just use the ticker? That's strange as hell. Anyways, biggest earner on the day, which one is it? Let's see. We have Brett 39.4%. Dude, look at the daily jumps. Everything's like 20%, 10%. Damn, Jaspy's up 21.8. We have render up 21. Crazy $4.61. Ooh. Oh, bruh, that's terrible. That's terrible. It's crazy to see like things pump this hard and the price is just not there right now. That's insane. Again, Caspa 19% up on the day to 16 cents. Bonk 15% up today. Sheeb is up 13.8. Again, Jasmine 21.8. Whiff is up 11.4. I really don't think any of this matters, so I'm just gonna stop looking at this because it doesn't make a difference. Let's get into Fear and Greed Index. Flashbang, everybody. Let's see. Look at this. Bruh. Extreme fear. We're at a 17. 17. If you guys don't understand this Fear and Greed Index, when this thing is in the red and everybody's shitting their pants, this is when you buy. Okay? Just heads up. Not financial advice, but that's when you do it. All right? Blood in the streets, that's when you want to buy. Right? Be greedy when people are fearful, and be fearful when people are greedy. That's exactly how you should play this game. But at the same time, everything's a risk. So do what you want. You're all adults. All right, CoinGecko. Let's see over here. We have top 10 coins by coin market cap. Let's see. We got Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, Solana, USDC, XRP, Lotto Staked Ether, Toncoin, and Dogecoin over here again at 9.5 cents at a $13.8 billion market cap. Crazy. Caveman, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Automatic Beats, my man, and All Set, good to see you as well. We have Cardano still in 11th place at $11.5 billion market cap. Man, it's crazy. I can't believe I've been gone for a week and like literally everything just completely takes a shit. I think this happened last time I went to Kansas too, so it could be my fault, and I apologize. Fully Electric actually told me that he's gonna start using me as an indicator, because last time I went, everything took a shit as well. so there it goes. All right, look at this. Caspa's in 23rd. Holy shit. Hell yeah. Perfect. That's mint. $3.9 billion market cap. Still holding on pretty strong. 23rd place. That's crazy. That's really crazy. It looks like Near's actually flipping it, and the numbers haven't caught up, but pretty interesting. Ethereum Classic is at 31st, or in 31st place at $18. Man, I think Ethereum Classic, I don't know. You know, like when it comes to mining Ethereum Classic, I love mining it. I think the coin's going to do well because of the ETF eventually. Obviously, everything right now is kind of shit. But once we get to you know, towards the election, I think in November, September, October, November, things will start turning up, hopefully, right? August, I didn't see this coming anyways, like turning into a complete shit storm. But I don't think anybody saw it really coming this bad. But we needed a pullback. We did need a pullback, so it is what it is. Again, renders only at $4. We get bit tensor over here at $255. Is that a good buy? Actually, that's actually a decent buy. This thing was up to like $400, right? Or 300 or something like last week, if I'm not mistaken. This might be a decent buy to get some Teo. Interesting. What are you guys looking into? Any coins that you specifically want to buy during this pullback? Let me know. I would love to know your you guys' thoughts on this. All right, let's jump over to miners. What the hell is happening to my mouse? Went crazy. All right, mining. Let's get into the mining aspect of things. You guys know I like to timestamp this stuff. We're looking at ASIC miner value today. Mine the ASIC's been a pain in the ass lately. So let's see. We got the Bitmain Antminer AL1 Pro. Sorry, 16.6 terahash unit coming out in September. This thing's making $472 a day. Do you remember when this AL1 15 terahash unit was making over $1,000 a day, like last week? I told you this thing was going to be like a fifth of that by the time it actually shows up. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with this coin. How is lithium looking? Actually, let's just look real quick, just for shits. $1.47. I mean, everything's down, so I can't, I mean, I guess I could still give it an oof, but $1.88. There's been a lot of sell pressure. I've been selling personally with the AL box too every single day, because why not? I'm not gonna hold this coin. It's just not for me, but I'll take the profits. Why not? Yeah, $1.47. I don't know how this is gonna hold up, and this is like really bad timing. It really bad timing. Winfair, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Dynex, you looking at Dynex? Let's see. We'll check out Dynex quick. Dynex, let's see what we're looking like. 36 cents. I wonder, actually, this is a good buy too. Damn, that's a really good buy. Let's go to the 3 month actually. Yeah, that could be a really good buy. I'd get some Dynex. Stupid cheap, man. That's crazy. Dynex has really been having a rough go though. It's kind of crazy. Really big swings, but I think 36 cents is stupid low. Let's just, for shits, I want to look at Flux. I haven't looked at Flux in forever either. 46 cents. Yeah, this might be a good time to buy Flux too. Yeah, like, dude, everything's on a fire sale. I might just grab a bunch of different coins, because why the hell not? The only thing that's like, I just don't want to use Zelcore for the wallet. I really don't. Anyways, all right, let's move back to mining. We're gonna look over here. The KS5 Pro making $27.89 a day. Bruh. Damn. That is like insanely low. That's crazy. The KS5 20 terahash unit over here making $26.57. Again, this is at 10 cents per kilowatt hour. If you guys change this, you can put it to your own electric rate, but just for ease of use here, we're gonna stay at 10 cents. We have the Gold Shell AL box too. You guys know I got this thing running in the solar trailer. Shout out to Gold Shell for sending this thing over. It's making 20 bucks a day roughly, right? It was making $40 a day when I first got it, so the price definitely needs to come down, my opinion. Oh, Mr. Geek of all trades, it's fucking good. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. I need to borrow some money. I ran out of funds buying the dip. Dude, it's insane. I wish I had more money on the sideline too. I do need to get some though. What's up, Black Cat? Good to see everybody kind of coming out of the woodworks though. I hope you guys are seriously taking advantage of this. Like, this is a really nice pullback for people that have been in this for a while, right? Like, I saw the complete bloodbath yesterday. I'm sure a lot of you guys did, and it's just, it doesn't phase me the way it used to. I just don't care, because I know it's all going to come back at some point. It's just going to take time, right? Crypto's not a get rich quick scheme. It's a get rich eventually scheme. All right. So just hold on to it, and shit typically comes back. But you guys got to realize you got to take profits when things are getting stupid greedy, right? We get the Ice River KS5M over here making $17.16 a day. The Antminer L9. Look at this. I got two different units now. You got a 17.6 and a 16.2. The 17.6 gigahash unit is making $14.47 a day. The 16.2 is making $12.70. Yeah, $12.70. Interesting. That's very interesting. Obviously, most of the profitability is in Doge on this one, so the price on this So the profitability on this thing is yeah, it's way down. Obviously, price of Doge again is under 10 cents, and Litecoin's only 56 bucks. You know what? I actually, right before Monday, I swapped like all of the lithium that I was mining from the AL box 2 right here into Litecoin. I think it was like 200 bucks or something, maybe a little over 200 bucks into Litecoin, and then it dropped like $10 per coin. I was like, damn it. Is it raining? It is raining. It's raining outside now. Yes, it was kind of off and on this morning though. All right, let's see. The Ice River KS5L over here making $12.10 a day. Dude, these prices are terrible. The ALO over here, Ice River, this thing should be shipping this month actually, $11.36 a day. How many of you guys got this unit? Yes, Crypto KJ, you know what? I was going to record instead of going live, but yes, you're correct. It was raining, so I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna go live. We got the Gold Shell AL box. This is the original unit making $10 a day. To be honest, guys, at 180 watts, this is still a very good unit, right? It's still making a shit ton of money for 180 watts. You really can't complain, right? I think the Ice River ALO is 1000% the better buy. It is a cheaper unit. It's a better on wattage, right? And you're making more money per day. So I mean, that's just, it is what it is. Like, that's the truth, right? But yeah, these units, like 10 bucks a day for, you know, 100 watts, it's like, it's nothing, or 11 bucks a day, whatever it is. Let's see, the Dragon Ball Miner KS6 Pro, we have $9.93 a day. The BMKS Max over here making $9.57. The Dragon Ball Miner, oh wait, that was the Pro Plus, KS6 Pro Plus. Interesting, I didn't see that one before. All right, now we got the Dragon Ball Miner KS6 Pro, 10.5 terahashes, $9. Interesting. The iPolo G1, look at this. Cuckatoo 31. What is this? Mining Mimblewimble. Interesting. $8.75 a day. We got the Alpha Packs DG1 Plus over here, 14 gigahash unit making $8.33 a day. Man, KS3 is only making $5.83 a day. Bruh. Oh, that's terrible. That's really bad. Let's see. The Bitmain Antminer L7. I got the 9050, so we're gonna look at that one. Again, this thing is down at Terra Hosting. Shout out to them if you guys are interested in hosting. Links are in the description. I actually just went down there and built a new fan wall in their GPU mining area, so it's pretty awesome. I can't wait to see what the temps are. The guy didn't wire it up yet, so we weren't able to turn it on when I left, but it's all ready to go, and I can't wait to see what happens. But the 9050 over here making $3.24 a day at 10 cents per kilowatt hour. Yeah, it's kind of ass, not gonna lie. But this unit, to be honest, for being 3 years old, it's been profitable the entire time, even through the bear market. Okay, this is insane for a unit that is that old. It's held true profitability wise for the longest time, right? I mean, it's $3. It ain't much, but it's still something. It's better than zero or being in the negative, kind of like my S19K. Let's just go look at that, because this is gonna be like way down here somewhere. S19K. I'm just gonna have to search it, aren't I? I probably passed it. All right, I'm just gonna Google it. I mean, nah, not Google it. Search it on this thing. Where is it? S19K. Oh. There we go. Oh my god. I'm losing $2 a day. Bruh. That is so horrible. It's a good thing I used all my rope. I used it on the kid's swing set. That is awful. Is anybody buying Bitcoin miners? You better not, because it's freaking shitty as hell. That is awful. What is the best? What is the best unit to buy right now? Was the S21? S21. So the XP Hydro unit is making $4.99 a day. That's 473 terahashes. All right, let's go to like normal people stuff, right? Like normal people. Okay, S21 XP. If you have a big enough wallet, You can buy this thing. 270 terahashes. You're making $1.87 a day. That's not even good. That is terrible. The S21 200 terahash unit. I remember when this thing came out, we were like ecstatic that we saw 200 terahashes. You're losing 53 cents a day. Bruh. That is miserable. Listen, if you're interested in buying coins, please, or buying like miners, consider just buying the coin right now. I'm just being honest. You're better off just investing in the coin you want to get from the miner versus buying the miner. Okay, please do that. Please just buy the coin. Like, it's not financial advice, if that makes sense. Okay. don't buy units that are losing you money every day. It makes no sense. No sense. This is more than your S19K. I hate you so much, Crypto KJ. But thank you very much for the €2. He said this is more than your S19K earns today. RIP. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. All right, let's look at GPUs, because GPU mining is completely dead at this point. We got Zealous over here on the 170HX. Looks like it's making 55 cents a day. Interesting. We got Ironfish and Zealous top of the charts there. We got the 4090 for Firo and Nexa. Firo, why is Firo's taking over? What's going on here? Hold on, we gotta go look now. Where am I at? Firo is at 98 cents. Dropped about 40 cents or so. Damn, I don't know. That's weird. That's weird to see Firo top of the charts though on all these cards rather. We got the 4070 Ti, Bitcoin, Gold, Ironfish, and Pyron. Firo for the BC 160, the 4080. Yeah, I mean, I guess Firo, Xano, Bitcoin, Gold. Yeah, you guys got, man, A5000's Firo. God, Firo's the worst too. They hate GPU miners. Screw them. All right, I'm not even looking at this anymore. Screw it. We're moving on. We're moving on to news, because I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to look at that anymore. Moving on. It's pounds, not euros. Whatever. Sorry. What's the difference? Is there a difference? I don't even know. Educate me, please. I'm very ignorant in that aspect of life, apparently. Crypto KJ. But thank you again for the £2. All right. Let's see what the former SEC chair Jay Clayton on the market sell-off has to say over here on CNBC television. This was posted about an hour ago. Let's do it.
Welcome former SEC chair Jay Clayton. He is now non-executive chair at Apollo and a CNBC contributor. Where do you want to start? You come in, when you come in, we always have like a kind of a buffet of things. I don't know if there's a sneeze tray. I don't like buffets without sneeze trays. You know what I'm saying? On top, or sneeze shield. But
fair enough.
Yeah.
My boy DJ screaming. Oh, actually, sorry, I didn't mean to cut off these guys, but I saw DJ's tweet this morning. I'm not a big guy on Twitter. I don't care about Twitter. I don't know. It's like a cesspool of bullshit. But I saw DJ posted he took out a personal loan of $10,000 to buy Bitcoin. That is a bad idea. Okay. Not saying that he's not going to probably make money on it. For the normal person, please don't do that. Okay. I just had to say it. Don't do that. That's a very bad idea, because the interest alone is going to kick your ass so you don't know how to pay your bills.
What's
See, even he found it funny.
When the last 3 days, what have you said, oh my God, I need to talk about this with Joe and Andrew? Anything?
Market function yesterday.
It wasn't great, was it?
No, I think.
But it worked.
I think it worked. And given that you had clearly a ton of forced selling, people were selling because they
margin calls,
because they had margin calls, because they had to fund things. And with that, globally, the market functioned well. I think that is good news. What else is good news? Our GSIBs, what we worried about in 2008 and the like. You know, clearly this was nothing to them. They can handle market volatility like this. You know, you talk to, the largest banks. This was not a problem for them. So those are very good things. One thing that we're hearing this morning, on this program, is the Fed. But people are saying, what should the Fed be doing? My takeaway is, thank goodness we have an independent Fed, right? You have all of these different pushes and pulls and the like. And in a political season, we're less than 100 days away from an election. I think what you're seeing.
Why have even the possibility of it not being independent? And we were just talking about that. Why not have a Taylor rule? Why not have a rules-based Fed instead of someone who could be swayed, someone who flies by the seat of the pants? We had someone thinks, Greenspan was this, Volcker was this, Janet Yellen was this, Bernanke was this. It wouldn't have to be dependent on one person leading 11 or 12 other people around. Why not rules?
Well, I don't think it's one person. I think, Chair Powell.
It's a consensus thing, but
does a pretty good job of building
along,
consensus. Well, but maybe they follow along because they find a good spot. But why not have a rule?
Yeah.
Because the world changes. The financial world is very complex. I mean, why have a rule when you have what I would say is disciplined fiscal spending, and now I'm going out on a limb, as opposed to profligate fiscal spending? That's probably
and look what happened.
That's probably a different context.
They stayed at zero and completely enabled the fiscal spending.
But now they've responded.
Yeah, and we're in the middle of responding, and we don't know how it's going to.
I'm going to defend the Fed here.
Okay.
We're all looking to the Fed to deal with this situation with the very blunt tool of interest rates.
Right.
When we have unprecedented fiscal spending, right? We have unprecedented supply shocks. We have volatility around the world. We have Europe, which is.
Do you think we would have had unprecedented fiscal spending if they had? That's not their place. Their place is whatever Congress does, they fund it. They shouldn't try to cut off the spigot.
I think that unfortunately, they're in reactionary mode as it goes to fiscal spending. That's where they've always been. That's how you stay independent.
Can we talk? Let's talk about. You can talk about Google. My point was it's just weird, and I don't know. We're finding out who appointed the judge. I'm not really going to say one way or the other that it's political, but it's one person that's deciding on. I don't know
that's
whether
how the system works.
I know, but then there's also.
And by the way, I disagree oftentimes with judges, and then you go to the next court, and then you go.
What about this one? You think Google is just really good at what it does, or do you think it's monopolistic?
Okay, I'll start with that.
Yeah.
When it's not I'll just speak personally. When it's not the browser that comes up, I switch to it.
Yeah,
because my experience is it's just better.
Yeah.
So, okay. And that's something that the judge has to deal with. The fact that consumers may just like this. What I thought was good about the opinion, I perused it quickly, is the judge did explain the thinking.
Right.
In a pretty clear way. I think in these types of situations, what does the judge owe the parties? And what do they owe the appellate court? As much of a balanced view of how they viewed the law and the facts so that the public can react, the appellate court can look at it and the like.
What's next? I mean, is it a good precedent or a bad precedent for our tech industry, which is the best in the world?
I am all in on tech. I'm all in on tech, all in on America. It's one of our greatest advantages.
Yeah.
I think we have to be pretty careful about whether
light touch.
Light touch.
We're not getting
But
there.
here's my question. My question is, are they fighting yesterday's war? Which is to say that Google has been the predominant, search engine in the world, but now all of a sudden we're talking about Perplexity, we're talking about OpenAI doing its own search product. All of a sudden, Microsoft, which is, partnered with OpenAI, is making a new run at making Bing, a meaningful player. I don't know if any of those things are going to succeed, but if you look over 10, 20, 30 years at the top 10 companies in America, in terms of market cap and revenue, they do switch.
They switch.
They switch. And that's something to be said about competition.
Innovation is a much better response than the government to these types of situations.
So having said that...
right? It's absolutely clear.
Having said that, and look...
And people would argue, but the government needs to be there to foster innovation.
Right.
Okay, back to Joe's point, light touch, forward-looking.
So here's the complicated part. I say to myself, if I'm Apple, I should absolutely be able to sell parts of my screen to whoever I want. Okay?
100%.
Okay. In this case, they sell it to Google. Because they sold it to Google, Google has, and because they sold for a lot of money, by the way, not everybody has can afford the screen space, if you will. So the capital, if you will, all of a sudden has competitive value.
Yep.
So they get on this screen, and there's a feedback loop. And that's the part that I think we haven't really thought through from a competitive perspective.
I don't think this is that new. What brand does Macy's put in the storefront window?
Absolutely. No,
Right?
no. But here's the question. What product do you know that gets put in the Macy's window and the product gets better because it's in the window? So the reason that the Google product is better,
the network effects,
is because more people are using it, and therefore it can train effectively better to actually send people to the right place in a way, frankly, that some of these others can't.
So
right, and that's a very interesting dynamic.
Is Apple supposed to say, "I'm sorry, I can't put you up front because it's too good a deal"?
I've always defended Apple's right to do that. But then the question is, does Google not have the right to pay the money? It's a very interesting sort of philosophical, but not so philosophical, very practical issue. And from an antitrust, just if you're into antitrust, this one actually is closer to me. In terms of like thinking through the sort of unique dynamics at play than some of the others.
I get it because, and when you are in a government position like that, high impact is something you always have to look at. And sure, it's a greater impact, but what does the consumer want?
I feel like that one left real hard. I wasn't expecting that. All right, moving on. Tech stocks sell off. What investors need to know. Let's do it.
NVIDIA, Tesla, and Amazon, the three worst performing of the Magnificent Seven over the last three trading sessions, all down between 11 and 13%. Only Meta is positive since last Thursday when the most recent selling bout started.
I'm going to speed this up a little bit.
Joining us now on what he's watching in the tech sector, Ray Wong, Constellation Research Principal Analyst. Good morning again. Good to see you. Ray, would you buy everything right now on the pullback or buy nothing?
Well, I was going to wait to see what was going on with some other data points to see if we were really in full panic mode or if we would actually come back. And it was good to see in the morning that, we had a pullback. People were actually coming back to their senses and realized that, one data point was going to trigger everyone into an overcorrection. But it's a good time to look into this. And I would say that there are a few stocks that actually are actually winning in AI. And NVIDIA, of course, is still going to be there. We got to wait till August 28th to figure out how they're going to, what their forecasts for Q3 are going to be. But more importantly, they're still going to be one of the winners. You mentioned Amazon. That one's going to be interesting to watch in the long run because we're seeing if the retail sector does come down and there's pullback in terms of consumer spending, I'd be worried about Amazon. But there's some interesting things. We are seeing people make money in AI. And Uber, for example, yesterday said, look, better price matching, better ride batching, algorithmic improvements have actually improved their ability to actually get more profitable. And of course, Meta has done something great with their open models because what it's actually allowing them to do is open source their LLMs, but allow them to get more data so they can improve their precision targeting for ad growth, along with their exponential efficiency. So Meta is a great stock in that regard. And of course, NVIDIA is a good one in terms of what you mentioned.
So Ray, when we go through periods like this that, in this case, maybe it's based on a carry trade or currency fluctuations, do you just ignore it? Do you just focus on what you know about each one of the companies individually? Or do you worry about, well, the multiple's kind of rich and, if depending on what happens in the macro world, everything could be marked down? How do you do it? Do you just look for opportunities to get long and what you like?
Well, right now, it's really about opportunities to get long on the AI revolution, and you have to figure out which companies will make money in AI. A simple example, Adobe's making money on AI, selling AI software. Microsoft, we're going to see how they do well in terms of what apps they're selling. Oracle has done a great job there. Palantir is a company that's been in the AI space. C3 has been in the space, and what we want to do is see, who's got the revenue growth, right? It always comes down to the forecast of what's out there, but it is individual stocks. But the macro was a bigger issue. I mean, that notion of debt that was being discussed earlier is true. China is in serious trouble, and that's a market, with lower population growth and the debt bubble, they're going to be in a tough spot. They're actually going to look like Japan in 20 years. And Japan got crushed because MMT doesn't work. And so a U.S. jobs number that's just one data point isn't, something that's going to take down the U.S. market. But the sentiment was pretty bad yesterday.
Interesting. All right, moving on to the Black Swan. Let's see what this guy, I feel like he shits on Bitcoin a little bit. Let's see, though. I caught like the very beginning of this.
But by the way, I have something I want to mention.
Yes.
You're good.
I don't know who this guy is, if anybody does. Yeah.
I want to talk about Bitcoin. That's where we're going to go with it.
No, one thing I want to say.
Don't point at me when
listen,
you're talking.
It's a speculative thing.
Yeah.
And one point is Bitcoin proved once again that it's not a hedge against your assets melting.
Because we had one pullback, that guy's saying this. Look at this is what happens when we have pullbacks and the narrative or just the false bullshit that the news puts out there to make this whole asset class look bad. It's kind of interesting. Mr. Rud Putsu, thank you so much for the 249 euro. He said, let's go party on. Thank you very much for the super chat. You're awesome.
or against money printing, or it's just a speculative asset? It's like a NASDAQ.
It's a speculative asset that seems to, it's just like, behave like high-priced real estate in Manhattan,
right,
or to track the stock market.
Right. That may be true, but you're losing your ass from when you told me it was useless at 30,000.
I'm saying it's useless.
I love Joe. You're losing your ass from when you told me it was useless at 30,000.
So this doesn't mean, there's a lot of things I didn't invest in.
All right.
A lot of things I didn't invest in that went up.
I want you to short it.
Went down.
Instead of just talking, I want you to short it or buy it. Do one or the other.
That's exactly the kind of false dichotomy that you're causing. I'm telling you, it's an asset that's crazy. Okay, of course, we've got enough crazy people to drive it up.
Do you think what do you think is going to happen to it long term, though?
I have no idea. First of all, I have no idea. It's a speculative asset. What I'm saying, it's not useful in economic system to have assets that go from $10 to $60,000. Okay, when we're looking for,
again, thank you for the super chat, Mr. Rude Puts. You're awesome. Appreciate you, buddy.
For price stability,
like Netscape, that goes from 800 to 120.
But that there's an underlying company that actually produces something that makes a product.
But on any given day, whatever it's worth is totally ephemeral. You have no idea.
Problem. Let me tell you the problem with Bitcoin people. They always
NVIDIA went from $6 to $400.
And it's revolutionizing the world.
Who knows whether Bitcoin's doing that or not?
And Bitcoin's not revolutionizing the world. What the fuck? I love when they argue. This is great.
People that think Bitcoin is doing it. The people that think it is.
How so? It's become a speculative asset. That's what it is. That's the product.
The product is being a speculative asset. It has a functional use in terms of what constitutes like actual money. It has a
that's exactly what you're getting wrong. It's proving that it can be anything, but it's not a currency and it's not a hedge. All right, so treat it as listen. A lot of people buy paintings.
What are the characteristics of, for example, of gold? It's immutable. It's cross-cultural. It's a limited supply. There's all these different things. It has a lot of those characteristics.
Gold has a property that Bitcoin doesn't.
What, to make jewelry?
No. Let me. First of all, it has use as jewelry, but there's one property is that. If you put, it has a gold chain, if you put it on the ground for 10,000 years, it will still be gold. Bitcoin, if the players in Bitcoin,
right, if you unplug the servers,
you can have it. You can own it. You can still have it. You don't need a server.
No, but the thing that keep being maintained. Okay, and this is complicated.
Well, the entire world is based on something being plugged in at this point.
No, but gold isn't. Gold is not.
And gold held its value. It was stable. Up until the hunt, and until of course 73 when
no, but gold is stable. It's worth about what a barrel. It's worth like a suit. It's worth a good suit apparently. Over the years, you can buy a good suit of clothes for whatever gold costs.
But the idea of taking the story of gold and
the characteristics. There's about 6 or 7 characteristics that Bitcoin shares with gold. And I mean, when I first...
Our argument is not going to...
In the old days, if you lived on an island, if you did an hour of work...
So, in other words, he doesn't know how to defend it.
Somebody else, and you did one thing, and somebody else did another thing, you need a way to keep track of your work. It's a distributed ledger, which does that.
So it looks like...
you could use shells, but you can't... You have to...
It is.
Well, the world is actually. You're kind of less in the dust. The world is coming around.
How many Bitcoin have you used today to buy your newspaper, your coffee, and?
Okay, now you're using the use basis. Now you've moved from the.
No, I am saying it's proving not to be a currency, and I'm proving, and it doesn't have the same attribute as gold as reserve of value. So maybe something else. I'm not complaining. A lot of people like crazy stuff. Okay,
it's different. It's not a pet rock.
Don't make it a. Well, it's not.
Well, in hindsight, we'll see, because up to this point, you don't admit that you've miscalculated on Bitcoin. You still think you're right. I know people who hate it at 5,000 that still think they're right, and they'll go to their graves thinking.
Let me tell you, I myself told you about 3 or 4 visits.
Is it going to zero?
No. I myself told you.
Because it should, based on what you're saying.
It should go to $1 million, it would still be a speculative item.
That's brave for you.
This fucking guy.
Then short it. Okay. Short it if it's going to zero. Buy if it's going to zero.
You got to run.
Oh, my God.
And spit on that thing.
There we go. That's crazy. That's insane, though. The guy's like, he's just sitting there shitting on Bitcoin, but he doesn't know how to defend gold against Bitcoin. That was like the most useless argument ever. But you'll see these people come on friggin' the news channels and just spread this bullshit to make people nervous so the government could just buy up the Bitcoin. Like, we know what's happening. At least people that friggin' watch this channel do. All right, moving on. Bitcoin plunges sharply as recession fears drive global market sell-off. Let's see what Crypto World CNBC Television has to say. This was yesterday afternoon, actually. I want to catch up on the world's news, so hopefully you guys haven't seen it. Let's do it.
Today, crypto prices crater alongside global financial markets. We ask Matt Hogan, the Chief Investment Officer at Bitwise Asset Management, to break down the moves and what could be coming next.
Obviously, the Bitcoin price is going to be a bit different than what they say it is right here, but I want to see how low it was.
Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Tanea McKeel. Crypto markets getting hit with a steep sell-off to kickstart the week, following a sharp drop in financial markets around the globe. By noon Eastern, Bitcoin shaved nearly 8%.
Also, it's relatively where it was.
Off its price, tumbling all the way down to the $54,000 mark. The cryptocurrency actually recovered from the worst of the pullback. At one point, it was trading below $50,000. Meanwhile, today's flight from risk assets also hitting Ether, which fell 13% in the past 24 hours. Solana dropping more modestly to $130. In terms of impact on publicly traded crypto-focused stocks, you've got exchanges like Coinbase and miners like Riot and Marathon Digital, all falling between 2.8 and 4.3% by around midday. CleanSpark, though, a big outlier, falling around 12%. All of the mining stocks at one point down double digits earlier in the morning. Now, some experts joined CNBC this morning to weigh in on the crypto sell-off. While on CNBC's Squawk Box today, Fundstrat's Tom Lee pointed to the Japanese market as one driver of the overall market sell-off. Tezos co-founder Kathleen Brightman also weighed in on what could be behind crypto's tumble.
I think basically what we're seeing is something similar to what happened at the beginning of COVID, where folks get a sense of something that looks like a recession, and the first thing they decide to sell is their pretend internet money. I think Bitcoin gets a bit of a shellacking because it's definitely cast more as a speculative currency. It's not treated the same as a lot of other equities.
Now, backing out for just a moment to look at the year so far, the recent drop in prices has eaten into both Bitcoin and Ether's gains for 2024, but both are still in the green. Bitcoin has risen 28% since January, while Ether lags the S&P 500, having gained only 8% in that time. At one point this morning, Ether did erase its year-to-date gain. All right, sticking with markets as we jump right to our main story. I spoke with Matt Hogan, CIO of Bitwise Asset Management, about today's crypto rout and where he thinks the market could be headed next.
I'm gonna bump it up.
This rout in risk assets, crypto, no stranger obviously to volatility or to 30% drops in a bull market, but it is kind of different every year as Bitcoin matures more and more. So on a day like this, what does a sell-off like this mean to you? And, what is your message to investors?
Yeah, it's great to be back. I see this as an opportunity. What stuck in my mind this morning is this feels exactly like March 12th of 2020, which was the last time we had a coordinated global sell-off in capital markets. That was the day, of course, we realized that COVID was impacting the global economy in a massive way. The Dow fell 2,400 points and crypto fell sharply. Bitcoin fell 37% that day. And everyone hemmed and hawed. Isn't it supposed to be a risk asset? Isn't it supposed to be a hedge? But guess what happened? In the year that followed, it rose more than 10x, back above $57,000. I see the same thing here. We have a global capital markets sell-off that impacted the crypto market on a low liquidity weekend. But nothing has changed fundamentally about Bitcoin or about crypto, except that we're closer to the Fed lowering rates. We're closer to quantitative easing. I see that as more of a catalyst than a headwind. So I look at today as painful, but an opportunity to position for the long term.
Unsurprisingly, and you've probably gotten this question as much as I have, but the first thing people want to know is about that narrative. They see that Bitcoin and crypto-related stocks are going down with the broader stock market, and this is really supposed to be a time, supposedly, that Bitcoin bucks the trend. So what do you say to that? And, perhaps the question is for whom, for what type of investor is Bitcoin a hedge against uncertainty, let's call it?
Or maybe over what time? I mean, actually remember, if you go back pre-Bitcoin, like 2008 financial crisis, when that crisis really hit home, guess what? Gold sold off at that time. People will sell anything that's liquid during a market crisis. The fact that this crisis hit on a weekend when most markets were closed, of course, people would reach to crypto to sell. It was the only outlet they had. I don't think it changes long-term. I think it is a great hedge asset during times of uncertainty if you're willing to hold it for more than a day, for months, for quarters, for years. That's what we've seen during every previous crisis. It always falls. People always panic about whether it's a hedge asset or not. And then every time it has recovered and played its role. They teach you in finance that this time is different are the 4 most expensive words in investing. And that's true in Bitcoin as well. This time is not different. Of course, we sold off with risk assets, and I believe we will rebound in the future.
Is that historical price performance what investors should kind of be hanging on to then? I mean, certainly there are people out there who really want to try to make sense of this.
Mr. Crypto for Seniors, dude, thank you so much for the $9.99 super chat. I said, glad to see you back. Missed the daily review. You're awesome, man. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for that. Means a lot. And I love DJ screaming. Makes my day. Appreciate it, buddy.
Sometimes it is correlated to gold and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's correlated to stocks. And would your advice be to just look at that historical price performance? Or is there something more to say about how Bitcoin can be all of these different things at the same time?
And it's a new thing. It's a challenge to have something that's both an emerging technology and therefore a risk asset, and also something that is a natural hedge against chaos, or at least the government's response to chaos, which is always to print money. And it's both of those things at the same time. And that sort of blows people's minds. But if you look historically how that plays out, the way it plays out is pretty simple. Over a very short-term period, it behaves like a risk asset. And over longer periods of time, it plays that role as a hedge. If you look since COVID, the dollar's lost 25% of its value. Bitcoin is up hundreds of percent. It's done a great job protecting you against the inflation that followed COVID. Did it do a great job every single day? Absolutely not. If that's what you want, you need an inverse position in the S&P 500. But if what you're looking at is to protect your savings, your retirement, your investments over a year, over 5 years, over 10 years, Bitcoin's track record is exceptional. And I think you just have to be willing to hold those two things in your mind at the same time, which I know is challenging. Even I wrestle with it, but at least that's what history teaches you is true.
Andrew Masad, thanks for being a member for 11 months, dude. You're awesome. Actually, you know what? I'm going to give you some hash rate on the AL box too. I appreciate you, buddy. And I got to, I'm going to do the VIP hash rate giveaway at some point this week as well. I just got to get things situated, but I'll get that out. I promise.
Okay, so what happened here? We've talked about the significance and we've gotten a little bit philosophical, but what exactly happened here? My sense is that this is obviously primarily macro driven. There are, of course, little things happening within crypto, but what do the events of the last 72 hours look like from where you were sitting?
Yeah, so from a short-term perspective, you have to ask yourself, have we hit the bottom? Right? Because often what happens in crypto is that pullbacks feed on themselves. You see the market drop and that causes liquidations in the futures market, and the market drops more and maybe a firm or two gets into trouble and blows up. And
holy hell, Black Cat, dude, thank you as well. 24 months, 2 years. Damn, that's awesome. Thank you for being a member that long. You're amazing.
Eventually it exhausts itself and gets to the bottom. So I don't think we know for sure if we've gotten to that bottom or not. Certainly liquidations have slowed down, but these effects sort of take, multiple days to see if we've hit that bottom. I think from a trader's perspective, that's what I would do. Watch liquidations and watch the stability of firms. Once that clears, the thing to monitor.
Dude, Nismo, you're turning 50 tomorrow? Look at all you guys. All the member chats. You guys are awesome. Yeet 6 months says Nismo, dude, I turn 50 tomorrow, dude. That's a milestone. Good for you. Good for you. We have Steven Cicero, 26 months as slackers. You're awesome too. All right. I know. You're all getting hash rate, all right? I'll figure it out. I'll hit you guys up in Discord, I promise. Shay Mining, you too, 21 months, dude. You're awesome. Happy birthday, Nismo. Happy birthdays in the chat for Mr. Nismo. You're awesome.
Sure. Do we see sort of central bankers and institutions moving in to open the sort of spigots? Do we see Fed rate cuts come in faster than previously expected? Do we see global bankers around the world cutting rates? Do we see sort of quantitative easing measures? That's the playbook. And to separate those two, the short-term question, because it can feed on itself. We don't know if we've hit bottom yet. And then the long-term catalysts, and just evaluate those separately, and I think you'll be okay.
Mr. All Set and All Track, dude. Hell yeah. Perfect. Member Shippery, great job. Jump says All Track, and Let's Go says All Set. You guys are awesome. Thanks for being members of 15 months.
What are your clients saying? You have these new crypto ETFs that began trading this year. Have you heard from your clients? Are they panicked?
Yeah, it's amazing. We've had very few calls today so far from clients. I think people who allocate to crypto using the ETFs have a few percent of their net worth in crypto, and they know that it's a volatile asset. And at least for Bitwise's clients in our Bitcoin ETF BitB or ETH ETF ETHW, they're buying it for the long term, expecting it to be volatile. In fact, if you look at Bitwise's history, we've been around for 7 years. We had inflows in 2018. That was a terrible year from crypto. Crypto is a high conviction, small allocation bet for most investors. So I suspect what you'll see out of these ETFs is remarkable stickiness. I don't think you're going to see massive outflows. I think you might even see some small inflows over the course of the next 2 weeks, because these investors are making long-term bets in an asset that they know is volatile. And guess what? We're reminded of that again today. It sure is volatile, but let's look at it over a longer time period.
We know, and you've said in this conversation, that the setup is still strong. The thesis has not changed. So given everything going on, do we still retest Bitcoin's record this year? And do we get a new all-time high still this year?
Yeah, I still think we're going to all-time highs this year. The things that could prevent that is if we see sort of the Democratic side of the presidential ticket leaning hard into the anti-crypto stance. But I don't think that's what we're going to see. I think we're going to see that side of the ticket moderating. The other side of the ticket is pro-crypto. And so I think we're going to get a relatively positive result in November. As long as that happens, I think we're heading toward new all-time highs. In fact, we might sort of go higher than I expected if we see a strong policy response. So, you know,
Golden Wolf, thank you very much for being a member for 12 months as well.
I'd say that's the bias,
sir.
But of course there are still risks out there in the market.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. All right, well, hopefully we get a new all-time high soon. But again, guys, buy the dip. It's time. Chuck Danger, 18 months, dude. I figured out how to be fancy. You're awesome, dude. I will be doing that hash rate giveaway for you guys. And actually, you know what? I'll probably set it up right after the stream. I'll have to go out there and get things situated. All right, let's do this. Let's get over to the videos of the day. I want to watch Mr. Anthony Pompliano. I haven't had a chance to watch this. It's 21 minutes long. I'm going to try to skip through anything that's like shilly-wise, but I will, yeah, we're just going to 1.2x speed and see if we can do this. But why is Bitcoin and why Bitcoin and stocks are declining fast? Let's see what he's got to say over here on his little podcast. Let's do it.
What's up, guys? Bang, bang. There is panic and fear in financial markets, and we are here to try to answer all your questions. I have Phil Rosen, co-founder and editor-in-chief of Opening Bell Daily. It is probably my favorite finance newsletter. Why is that? Well, because I helped him start it. He was a fantastic reporter over at Business Insider, and now he is writing for over 200,000 people every single day on what's going on in finance.
Oh, damn.
In this conversation, we talk about how the stock market is dropping so aggressively, why is it happening, what's going on in Japan, why did crypto go down so much, and what you can do at home to try to insulate yourself from all of these problems. If you go and you look at the pinned comment in this YouTube video, you will see a link to Opening Bell Daily. Make sure you subscribe. Here's my conversation with Phil Rosen.
So global markets are selling off today. Japan, Korea, US, everything is in the red. And a lot of this started last week when we had the manufacturing data was weak, the jobs market data was weak, and the July report specifically triggered the SOM rule. And that has raised recession fears all over the world. Tell us what you're looking at right now.
Everyone's scared. Everyone is scared. But I don't think that they should be yet. I think there's a couple of different components to this. First of all, we have high interest rates in the United States. Yes, historically, they're not that high, but they're high compared to the 0% interest rate environment that we've had. And so the Fed has had multiple data points. Unemployment's been creeping up. The economy's obviously been slowing down a little bit to cut interest rates, and they haven't done so. And so if you leave interest rates high for a long time, you eventually break something in the economy, right? If you think about the United States economy, it is built for low interest rates and cheap money. That is how everyone grows, and growth is the oxygen for the economy. So that's kind of step one. Is just structurally, you've got higher interest rates, so that creates a lot of issue. The second thing is that people have been pouring tons of money into the stock market, right? If you have 5.5% interest rates, but the stock market's at all-time highs, that's not supposed to happen. And so obviously people have been very bullish and optimistic. They're trying to front run some sort of pivot from the Fed, and they keep pouring money into the stock market. Now, where are they getting that money? A lot of it is because they're getting wealthier because of various things in the economy, and there's more cash that they have to go and invest. There's hundreds of millions of dollars that are actually coming in via this carry trade, because what a lot of investors figured out is that the Japanese yen was in an environment where there's a 0% interest rate. So rather than borrow money in the United States at 5.5%, I'd rather go to Japan and borrow at 0%. Well, if I borrow in Japan, they don't give me dollars, right? They give me JPY. And so what I have to do is I have to take that and I have to convert it to dollars. So I borrow in Japan at 0%, and then convert it to dollars. Well, now I have dollars and I owe 0% on that loan. What do? I go buy stocks. Sounds amazing. Well, all of a sudden what started to occur is as I was buying those stocks and it was going up, I felt like a genius. Now, there's two things that occurred. One, the Japanese started to tighten their financial conditions. Oh, hold on a second. It may not be 0% interest rates now. I may actually owe something on this money. That's a departure from why I did it in kind of the original environment. The second thing is, as stocks have kind of pulled back some, then I now have essentially leveraged bets in the stock market. If those stocks start to trade down, I now get worried about some sort of margin call. And so what I have to do then is sell stocks to go pay back my loan. But if I'm selling stocks, and so is a lot of other people, it further pushes prices down, causing more of a cascade in the market. And so what you get here is you get a number of different dynamics that are all coming together that are leading to these lower prices. Now, maybe the most important part of all of this is we live in an economy where the structure of monetary policy is going to constantly push asset prices up. But because we've essentially removed risk from the market, people will do things that take on more and more risk. Right? Imagine if you could go to the casino and you knew you couldn't lose. What would you do? You would just start wagering more money. But on the off chance that the Federal Reserve is not paying attention, like when they have interest rates at a high rate for a long time, then what you start to do is you start to introduce more of that risk, but people still are convinced there's no risk. And so stocks start trading down. They're caught kind of pants down because they're over levered. And so then you get panic and fear. It's hilarious to me. The S&P is still up double digits year to date. Yet people are acting like it's down 20%.
Well, something that I was watching was the VIX, the fear gauge on Wall Street. I think that's up maybe 230% or something from the last week, which is crazy. And it's right now at levels that we've only seen, I think, during the great financial crisis and in 2020. Do you think this market reaction is maybe a well-timed correction, or is it a overreaction?
Today's episode is brought to you by...
No, gotta skip that. Right here-ish, maybe. Yeah.
For days like we have in 2024, where the stock market is up double digits halfway through the year, right? With a stock market that compounds usually at 7-8%, maybe 10% on average over the last 50 years, that's a year-long return. We were annualizing close to 30% of the S&P at kind of the half-year mark. And so because of that performance, people got used to everything goes up and to the right. And so the first sign of, oh, wait a second, stocks don't only go up all the time every single day, right? If you go and you look, I think the S&P didn't have a 2% drawdown for a year. And so when that occurs, when you get the 2% drawdown, everyone's forgotten what it's like when stocks go down a little bit. And if you then take not only the stock performance and kind of the fear that's driven there, I do think that there's a lot of people who are looking at the presidential election in November, and they're trying to understand who's going to be the president. If you overlay the chart of the S&P with the prediction odds of Donald Trump becoming president, when Trump's odds go up, the stock market goes up shortly after. When Trump's odds go down, the stock market goes down. And so what's hilarious about this is that people are almost day trading the gyrations in Trump's prediction odds in the stock market, whether they're doing it implicitly or not. They are trying to better understand, are stocks going to accelerate, or is there an incoming recession? And the short answer is nobody knows for sure, but we do know that you're not supposed to have an all-time high in the stock market with interest rates this high. So what do you think?
I didn't know that about the prediction markets with Trump and the stock market correlation. Something that I think it was a big topic the last few weeks was Trump coming into office for a second term and how that would fuel markets. But I think that's really left the conversation now that people are thinking about recession and the labor market is weakening. I think the Trump trade is really sort of old news at this point, and I don't know how relevant it is, or at least it's not being talked about or reported on in the financial press. I haven't been writing about it. I've been writing more about the economic indicators. But before we go any further, I have to ask you about crypto, of course. Bitcoin is down 20% in the last week. Ether is down 25%. Solana is down almost 30%. What are you watching there, and what should we know for the coming weeks and months?
If you don't get excited when the assets in your portfolio go down in price, you may not actually understand what you own. And when I see this go down, now take something like Solana. Solana has gone from $40, $50, $60, $70 when I started to buy it last year, and ran all the way up to 200, came back down. It actually went to like 125, and went right back up to like 180, right? It's come back down, whatever. And so what you want to do is,
it was actually at $20. It was literally like 19 when a few people actually bought it.
You want to constantly be allocated to your portfolio. And if you buy things with a very long time horizon, when the price draws down, you don't worry, right? So last night when everything was kicking off, it was almost like you just kind of sit down and you're like, here we go. Here comes the fun. But you're not worried. You don't have leverage. You're not worried about getting liquidated. You're not worried about what the day-to-day price movements are, even if it goes down 50.
That's a great point, actually. Saying you're not worried because you're not on leverage, right? You don't lose unless you sell. If you sell for a loss, then yeah, you're going to lose, obviously. But if you just hold it, typically it comes back and you're not going to lose out, right? If you're betting with leverage, yeah, you can get liquidated, which means you lose your coins and then you're screwed, right? But that's a good point.
50+%, because you're saying to yourself, I'm holding this for years.
Exactly.
And if I'm going to hold it for years, who knows what's going to happen? Right? So I shouldn't worry about today. Facts. And so the long-term mentality is actually this great anecdote to the like fear and panic in these moments. And then I also think that when you see something like crypto drawing down, because it is so volatile, it bounces really hard. So earlier today, we saw Bitcoin drew down. I saw a $49,000 print. Right? I think it was like $49,700. I looked maybe an hour later, it was back to $54,000. And so when you see those kind of hard drops, it's the reflexivity in the market. So you see something go down very, very quickly and it comes flying right back. That literally could not happen in the stock market because of the circuit breakers. And so they constantly are interrupting these kind of violent moves in either direction. And so a free asset like Bitcoin or the crypto market shows you much more about human psychology and how markets are supposed to work. And so I think that's actually one of the advantages that the crypto world has. Although the traditional finance folks look at it as a negative, they say it's too volatile. They say it's too much of a free market. That is, as an investor, that's what you want. right? You want an unencumbered kind of signal as to what's going to happen in the world. You want to be able to take a bet on that versus have to analyze not only what is the financial asset, what is the market conditions, but then, hey, are they going to intervene in some weird way that's going to change the financial performance of this asset?
Do you think that because there's no breaks or stoppage in crypto markets that it's too prone to panic selling?
I think it works in both ways, right? So, I mean, there's nothing like Bitcoin on a day where people are enthusiastic and the euphoria is, flying around, because it'll go up thousands of dollars. The reverse happens as well. It'll drop thousands of dollars, right? I mean, people go back. I saw some people being like, oh, this is like March 2020. March of 2020, Bitcoin dropped from $8,000 to under $4,000. 50% drop in a single day. That is very difficult to happen in the stock market because of the circuit breakers and a bunch of this stuff. There are times where they'll even just shut down trading of something and just say, everyone just go home. Right. And so when you see this happening in kind of the Bitcoin and crypto world, you just have to remember that as these people get wealthier and as these people get older, they will start to diversify into kind of more traditional markets. And so we're really training an entire generation of people to be better in terms of understanding volatility, being long-term oriented, and kind of prepared for these moments.
So I wanted to pivot to the Fed. And last week, Jerome Powell did not adjust interest rates. So they're still at 2-decade highs. And 2 days after, yeah, truly. And the market's reacting right now. He said that the labor market looked still fine, essentially. And then 2 days later, we got the weak July jobs report. And now you have calls. I think Wharton's Jeremy Siegel this morning was calling for an emergency rate cut. And he said he wants to see a 75 basis point cut. Where do you stand on whether the Fed has made its policy error and if we're going to see an emergency cut?
Today's episode is
another one. Saw this one coming too.
In a market, you're supposed to allow the free market to do it. It is an arrogant belief of human beings that we can intervene in the market better than the free market forces. And so what the Fed is ultimately doing in 2020 and 2021 is they are artificially suppressing certain conditions in the interest rate. And they are also, along with their other colleagues, artificially inflating the money supply at a rate that is unnatural. And so what do you get? You get massive inflation, right? The official number being almost 4 times what the actual target is, right? Or almost 5 times the actual target. Now we have the opposite problem, which is we are artificially inflating the interest rate. And we are also, at least from the Fed's perspective, trying to deflate or decline any sort of easing in the economy. Now, their colleagues didn't get the message because they still been printing tons of money, right? With the debt over $35 trillion. But I do think that that intervention is the first policy error. Now, the second policy error is they over-rotated and they didn't step in before the inflation really hit. Now they've over-rotated in the other direction and they've kept financial conditions so tight that, yes, they're going to keep doing it until something breaks. I think this probably counts as something breaking, right? Is you literally have the largest decline in the Japanese stock market since 1987. If you look in the US, some of these stocks, I think AMD is down 40% off of its recent high, right? Damn. How many stocks in the tech sector have to trade down until people say, you know what, we probably should look at this. And so I also saw that I think a 1,000-point drop in the Dow happened this morning, which had never happened in history before. And so, some of this is financial moves, but I think another important part of kind of this whole analysis is we lived in this hyper-connected world. And so the information velocity is unmatched. Historically, on a Sunday night, you would have no clue what happened in Japan. Maybe you worked at a big financial firm that had a desk in Japan. And so somebody would pick up the phone and call or send an email and say, hey, things are looking a little shaky out here, right? And you might not even know what it was, but you would at least say, okay, maybe something's going on. When the stock market opened in Japan yesterday, all of Twitter knew exactly what was going on, to the point where they were calling out percentage point ticks of the decline, which then creates fear, which creates this uncertainty, right? Which creates this panic, which then starts to spread everywhere else. And you can literally see, if you were to plot the velocity of tweets that were talking about this stuff with the decline, my guess would be that as the tweet velocity increased, the sell-off accelerated as well. Because people said, oh my God, I read on Twitter that the Japan, stock market is blowing up. Well, tomorrow they're going to open up the American one. I'm going to go sell something. And so that velocity of information is actually a huge driver of financial performance in a way that we just never seen before. And so I do think that that's a big element that they're not going to be able to change. And as individual investors, we should prepare for that only to get worse over time.
I think
that's a good point. Yeah, Twitter's definitely a good, or I don't know, it could be good and bad, right? For things like this. Yeah, it could definitely drive a major sell-off if people are all tweeting about it.
A lot of the panic right now in markets is going to have some influence on what the Fed does, even if they claim that it doesn't. But if you look beyond markets, there are pockets of consumer strength, which I thought were really interesting. I read this over the weekend. The following are not in a slowdown: restaurant bookings, hotel demand, TSA air travel, tax withholdings, Broadway show attendance. So with that in mind, those things don't point to recession, but recession has all of a sudden come back into the conversation. Where do you stand on this?
Those things are what I would put in the bucket of false signals. And what I mean by that is people only stop going to Broadway when they're told there's a recession. People only stop traveling when they're told there's a recession. But the average person doesn't pay attention. They just live their life. And what they've been told for the last 4 or 5 years is you're getting richer. And so what ends up happening is they keep thinking that they're wealthy. They keep thinking they have more and more cash, right? And so they just keep spending money and spending money and spending money. And some of them are doing it on credit, but many of them aren't. And so when you see that, if all of a sudden people started to be like, we're in a recession, that stuff would dry up quickly. And it's this, very fascinating conversation around, is it the signal that we should look at that then signals that we're in the recession? Or is it the psychology of the behavior change once people are told they're in a recession? And my guess is it's more the psychology change. People's consumer behaviors change once they're told something bad is either coming or here. And you can see this with, the Somm rule. Everyone started freaking out. And then I saw Claudia Somm, who literally invented the metric. She went on CNBC and was like, I think it's a false positive. Like, actually, here's the reasons why. And everyone's like, nah, she didn't know what she's talking about. Like, we're in a recession, 100%, perfect prediction ability. And so it is this very crazy thing where, if you were to ask me what's the biggest problem right now in finance, it's that short-termism is like a mental disease. Everyone is looking at what's going to happen in the next 12 hours. And that's not me being bombastic at all. So literally true. Half or more of all option volume in the stock market is for 0-day options. People wake up in the morning and they bet, what is the price of the stock market going to be at the end of the day, right? Like, that is insane. And so if you look at that, and then you look at things like the uses of derivatives, right? You can see that exploding. You can see things like the carry trade from Japan. Like, we are just becoming an entire society of gamblers. And the reason is because inflation is higher than expected. People feel like they can't get ahead. And so as they slowly degrade their hope, they just say to themselves, well, screw it. I got to do something. And so 0-day options is the perfect example where we went from a world of, hey, there's going to be quarterly reports, 50, 60, 70 years ago, to now literally you can bet on the price of the stock market at the end of the day. And that kind of acceleration from long-term thinking to short-term thinking has deep, deep roots in so many of the different problems that we have in the financial market. And until that gets fixed, which it won't, but until that gets fixed, you're only going to see more chaos, uncertainty, volatility, et cetera.
Well, on that note, thank you for having me.
Thanks for doing this.
That's funny. That's funny. Someone in the chat was like, Anthony Pompliano, he's the only guy that'll invite somebody to a podcast to interview himself. That was so funny. You know what? I actually forgot about this. Let me see. Did you guys see Tucker Carlson? I'm not going to watch this whole thing, but some guy was talking about who Satoshi Nakamoto is and who he thinks it is. I want to see what you guys think about this, if you guys heard this part or not. Did anybody see this? Let me know in the chat if anybody saw this video right here. I want to play this real quick because I actually didn't have a chance to listen to the whole thing, but it was kind of, Satoshi. it was very interesting. He's like, I think I might know who it might be, and it kind of freaked me out a little bit thinking about if that wallet gets unlocked, what happens. That'd be crazy. Let's see.
Movement. I know you were at the Bitcoin conference recently, and you told them CIA started Bitcoin. They got really angry on Twitter. But
I don't know that.
Yeah,
but until you can tell me who Satoshi was, I have some questions. What?
Actually, I have a feeling about who Satoshi was, but that's a separate conversation.
No, it's not. Let's just stop right now because I'll never forget to ask you again. Who is Satoshi?
There's a guy. His name is Paul LaRue.
By the way, for those watching who don't know who Satoshi was, Satoshi is the pseudonym that we use for the person who created Bitcoin, but we don't know.
It's amazing. It's this thing that was created. We don't know who created it. He never moved the money, I don't think. Maybe there was some activity here and there, but there's like billions, hundreds of billions of dollars locked in. So we don't know who the person is. They're not cashing out. And it's like pretty crazy story, right?
That's amazing. So Paul LaRue.
Yeah, Paul LaRue was crypto hacker in Rhodesia.
So a lot of this makes sense. Just listen, just try to listen to this.
Before Zimbabwe, and he created something called encryption for the masses, EM4, and was one of the early. By the way, I think Snowden used EM4 as part of his hack. So he was one of the people that really made it so that cryptography is accessible to more people. However, he did become a criminal. He became a criminal mastermind. In Manila, he was really controlling the the city almost. He paid off all the cops and everything. He was making so much money from so much criminal activity. His nickname was Sletoshi with an L. And so there's like a lot of, circumstantial evidence. There's no cutthroat evidence, but I just have a feeling that he generated so much cash. He didn't know what to do with it, where to store it. And on the side, he was building Bitcoin to be able to store all that cash. And around the same time that Satoshi disappeared, he went to jail. He got booked for all the crime he did. He recently got sentenced to 25 years of prison. I think the judge asked him, like, what would you do if you would go out? And he's like, I would build an ASIC chip to mine Bitcoin.
Tell me that's not weird. So if this dude, say that was the dude, right? Because nobody knows who it is, right? We're just totally tinfoil hat speculating here at this point. I don't even know who this guy is, to be honest. But just in general, if that guy gets out in 25 years and unlocks all that Bitcoin, now what happens? Actually, Crypto KJ, thank you for putting that in the chat. What is this? Is this the guy? Let's see. Born in December 24th, 1972. Former programmer, former criminal cartel boss, and informant to the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA. Interesting. LaRue was arrested on the 26th of September 2012 for conspiracy to import narcotics into the United States and agreed to cooperate with authorities in exchange for a lesser sentence and immunity to any crimes he might admit to later. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. That could be... that's kind of scary, actually. That's really scary. Because if he got out and wanted to sell all that Bitcoin, now they can't do nothing because he has immunity. Weird. He subsequently admitted to arranging or participating in several murders. Jesus Christ. 7 murders, rather, carried out as a part of extensive illegal business empire. That's freaking crazy. He's expected... Hold on. He was sentenced to 25 years in prison in June 2020. All right, so we have at least until 2045. So I'll be holding my Bitcoin until that point. and then we're going to see. If anybody wants to watch this, please feel free. I'm going to put this in the chat, actually. As a timestamp that obviously starts where Bitcoin is. But yeah, that's I don't know. It's just, that's crazy to me. Is it not crazy to you guys? Does that not make you feel a little weird inside? It definitely makes me feel a little weird inside. All right, let's move on to the recap segment of things. Anybody just joining, appreciate you guys for hanging out. We got Bitcoins, $56,400. Nice, dude. We're about $1,000 more than we were when we started. $25.39 Ethereum, guys. Listen, everything is on a fire sale. Again, flashbang real quick. Fear and greed index is at a 17. This is very low. Blood in the streets, that's when you want to buy. Be greedy when people are fearful. Be fearful when people are greedy. Don't go take out loans, though. That's not a great idea. Unless you have the money in the bank and you just don't want to spend your own money. If you have it like on the side, you could pay that loan off. All right, cool. Like, I'm assuming that's what DJ's got. So if anybody is in his situation, okay, maybe do it, but don't do that. if you're a normal person that doesn't have money to invest, don't invest anything. Okay, just throwing that out there. Crypto Kurt, what's up, dude? Satoshi is dead, dude. You know what? Honestly, I don't want to say I hope, but I hope. Does that make sense? I don't want to, like, I hope people aren't dead, but yeah, that's it would be better than him being in jail and then getting out and being like, I need money, I'm gonna sell all this shit. Because that could be a drastic yeah, just death candle down, to the downside. Everything's looking pretty good though, guys. Caspa is up to almost 17 cents. We're at 16.7 right now. ADA's at 33 cents. I think ADA's a steal right now. I'm freaking pissed I don't have any money on the side. I gotta swap some stuff to get some loot. But XRP 51 cents. I think ADA is a good buy. Solana's definitely a good buy. I mean, Bitcoin, obviously. Ethereum, pretty decent buy, right? Everything's looking good, guys. That's it though. That's it. I got some stuff to do. I gotta go record. You guys are all fantastic. Thank you to all my members for being members. You guys are awesome. Thank you for all the super chats. You guys didn't have to do any of that, but I do appreciate it. All right, I'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning, probably around 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. And until then, You guys have a great, safe, and happy Tuesday. I'll see you guys soon. Peace out.
Huck to and spit on that thing.
Perfect.
If she don't hawk to her, we don't talk to her.
Perfect.
Eat shit, Gary.